welcome to the Smart Drive Podcast, where driving expertise meets real talk. My name's Simon Horton, an EV enthusiast and advanced driver.
And my name's Ashley Neal, a driving instructor by trade, but I also run a driving education YouTube channel.
Excellent. And I would like to start, if I may, with a public service announcement.
Oh, interesting.
Sounds official, doesn't it? It's not really official.
It does, yeah.
It actually starts with a bit of an apology because I've meant to bring this up on probably the last 3 podcasts, and then you know what we're like, we carry off and hit a tangent. So I thought I'll start with this and then go. So on your wonderful YouTube channel, you've got quite a good support from Car Vertical. And
yes,
they've been very good. And when I was selling a vehicle recently, I downloaded one of their reports for that vehicle and included it in the sale. Mm-hmm. So didn't put any onus on people buying the vehicle. I extracted some of the graphs from it, dropped it into the advert, and it was great. Now, fast forward a few weeks, the advert's been up, and I've had not a lot of interest, and I purposely avoided going on Facebook Marketplace because it's a thing. But anyway, I dropped the price a little bit and thought, right, I'll try a little bit on Facebook Marketplace. And I got an inquiry coming through. One of several, but I got an inquiry coming through that sounded quite genuine. And as it turned out, when they got me hooked into their genuine interest in the vehicle, but they're quite a distance away, one of the things they said was, can you go and get this report? Now, it wasn't a Car Vertical report, it was a World Car Data report. So my response was, I've already done the Car Vertical report, it's included and I can send it to you. Their response to that was, well, I've never heard of them, I would like the World Car Data report and I'd like you to go and get it. So I went and did some digging and, let me read to you the response I gave them, having done some digging into World Car Data. I said, and you want me to pay money to a company that uses terms as this? We're using third-party payment services with the descriptor name is. When you see it, your bank statement, it's reflected by the name of, so you don't have to worry about that. So that was in the terms of this particular website. So
quality.
Yeah.
That's trust.
So public service announcement. This is a scam. It's a low-level scam, but basically when somebody's making an inquiry like this, what they're doing is they're acting on behalf of whoever this company is to try and get you to go and buy the report to make them some revenue, and then they'll probably never turn up or never hear from them again. Now, they got reported through Facebook Marketplace, their posts have been removed, their accounts have been closed, etc., etc. But I just wanted all your viewers to know that Car Vertical are brilliant, but there are some other companies out there that are trying to clone themselves as that and try and get your cash.
That's very good of you to say, Simon. And I promise everyone, I've not spoken to Simon about this, didn't have a clue about it. Honestly, I hear some decent reports, and this is not a Car Vertical ad. I do hear some decent reports of people checking the cars out and saving themselves a little bit, a big headache, to be honest, once they've checked the car out. It leads us perfectly as well, Simon, onto what I said to Simon before we started recording, that I've got something that I want to have a little chat about. And it's one of my sons has purchased a new car. And obviously, it's a second-hand car. It's a BMW iX3, 22 reg, nice motor. And I obviously did a Car Vertical check. And there was something that came up on it. It was a financial warning, and it was just simply unit stocking. I'm pretty certain you know what that's all about. What would you think that's all about, Simon?
So my interpretation of unit stocking would be them bringing them into the country and holding onto them at a dealer level or at a manufacturer level to increase or inflate their numbers.
It's also a way. It's also a way that they get many cars on the dealership as well. They take finance out to keep cash flow, and it came back when we checked this car out. that they just had a financial warning, and it was only that. And it was something that I've never encountered before, and that was a real life situation on one of these car vertical reports that, you know, I do from time to time. I wouldn't buy anything else. I wouldn't buy a second-hand car without doing a car check on it, and obviously with my connections with Car Vertical, I'd obviously use them. But that's interesting information that people are going on online to car adverts and then trying to get you to purchase something that's an absolute load of rubbish. Useful information, that, mate. Good one.
Good. Hope we can spread the word on that one. So the iX3 then, I mean, this is another little piece of information. Because you know me, I'm a data nerd.
Yeah.
I have a record of all of the fuel type sales on vehicles since 2011, month by month. Thanks to the Motor Trade Association, and effectively to track what battery electric vehicle sales were in terms of percentages. And we're currently hovering around 25-26% of new car registrations are BEVs.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is, when you look at the graph, you wouldn't normally spot it from the numbers, but when you watch the graph, the numbers for EVs as a percentage of overall registrations month by month, there's a pattern every year, and it's every year just before the registration number changes, and at the end of the year there seems to be this peak in percentage of sales in battery electric vehicles. It's not a peak in the number of sales, it's a peak in the percentage, and this is back to the manufacturers needing to hit their targets for fleet emission sales. So they need to sell a certain number of electric vehicles compared to their petrols and diesels, and that's why the flow of stock traditionally has been coming in. So at the end of the year, you'll find an uptick of availability of stock and deals on EVs. So if you're in the market for an EV, November's a good month.
Brilliant. That's superb advice. I love anything that we can do to help our viewerships save a few quid here and there. And that's really, really good. The question that I was going to pose to you is this. The car's 22 reg, it's done 37,000 miles, by no means a lot. Battery health check. Would you advise getting a battery health check on an electric vehicle before you purchase it secondhand, Simon?
It's a good thing to do. Now, on that one, you're talking 3 years old and it's relatively low mileage. It's unlikely that it'll have seen degradation due to high amounts of rapid charging. That's generally the killer for some of these batteries. But
yes.
It's a simple check to do, and I would advise getting it done.
Cool.
There's more and more people offering it as a service. In fact, the people that are coming to service Carla's Kia on Monday offer it as an optional extra when they do the service. They can say, do you want to stay to health check? It's a relatively simple thing to do, and because all the information's in the battery monitoring system, you just have to have the tool to extract it.
Have to get it. Apparently BMW haven't people can't, I wouldn't say crack the BMW information. I don't know. This is what my lad was told by the dealership that he bought it from, that their auto electrician cannot get this because BMW haven't released it. BMW wanted a few quid, obviously, diagnostic to actually get that checked. So my lad, in the end, decided against it with the miles that it's done.
Yeah.
With the length of time that he's going to purchase it over, it's still going to fall within the 8 years warranty of the battery from BMW. So he's just said, well, if it, I think he read the stats that if it goes below 70% battery health within that 8 year period, they just replace it. Just the warranty claim. Yeah. So he's in the end not bothered with it. But I just wanted to ask your obviously expert advice, Mr. EV man, on that situation. Yeah. It's quite simply just get it done if you can.
Yeah, and your lad's car is at the bottom end of the scale in terms of should you really get it done at such low mileage and so early into its warranty period. Obviously, the higher the mileage within the warranty period and close to the end, the more I would suggest getting it done. It's a nice little extra piece of security, if you like, in terms of understanding how the vehicle has been used.
Yeah. used. Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's good. To be fair, I haven't even seen it. He's picked it up today. He's asked me a few little questions on it. And honestly, I didn't really know, but he did a little bit of digging and, came to that decision himself. But it's still nice that he asks his dad occasionally for a little bit of advice, even though I didn't know. Fair play.
I see, but you can crowdsource it, so you can ask many different experts that you've got in your community, and they'll give.
And that's why first thought was ask Simon.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll put myself in the expert category. That's great.
Absolutely.
So, anything interesting been happening in your world?
What have I done? I had someone through part 3 test on Monday. That was really good. Friday. All my days roll into one. Part 3, I'm sure most of my viewers know, it's the third and final part of the driving instructor exam. Really difficult to pass. My PDI, or potential driving instructor, passed it first time, which is, I wouldn't say unheard of, but it's quite rare. Did a really good job.
Did you go along on the test?
No, I listened in at the end. I occasionally do go off on test and listen in and see how they're getting on. But no, it's good to turn up at the end to just get the examiner's feedback. But it was all positive. He scored well as well. We get graded A or B or unsatisfactory. He obviously was satisfactory, but he was smack bang in between a B and an A, which for a first attempt on a newly qualified instructor was a good job.
Nice one.
Well happy with that. Apart from that, it's just the marathon training, mate. We've been out and done 9.5K this morning, me and Liz. Not much else going on. Pretty mundane. Just had a new bike delivered from one of my sponsors. I'm going to put that together after. I've had a look at my lad's car. He's popping around after we've recorded this, and then I'll go and put that together in the garage. So I'll be up at midnight putting a blasted bike together. But that's me. That's my life, mate.
Spannering and tinkering in the garage. Great to hear.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I know you're maybe going to go on to it, but what's that on your shirt, Simon?
Oh, you're asking about this, are you? Oh, I didn't. It's good of you to notice, Ash. Good of you to notice.
I am intrigued. And to be fair, just let everyone know, I asked Simon as soon as I saw, what's that on your shirt? He went, I'm going to mention that later. So yeah. I'm just really intrigued. What's this all about,
so
Simon?
The closing the date. So 2005, and yes, I do still fit in this polo shirt from 2005. It's 20 years since me and a group of lunatic friends went on a driving tour across the southwest states of America. So we've celebrated the anniversary just this last weekend. And to say it was an epic journey is very much an understatement. We did 3,500 miles in 3 weeks. And as you may see from the logo, no ordinary cars. We were in 7 style cars, so that's Caterhams and Westfields. Shipped Brilliant. Them all over. Shipped 47 cars over from the UK to the States. Picked them up in Houston. Did the tour, finished up in San Francisco, and then shipped them back home again. So yeah, I don't think it'll ever be repeated as an endeavour, and yeah, it was great fun. And what I've done in this last week, which is probably poignant to this, is I've remastered the tour DVD and put that up on YouTube so people can rewatch it in. I won't say glorious 4K, because if you go back 20 years, the stuff we were recording onto was quite low definition. Sony like handy cams and then bullet cameras and things like that. No smartphones those days, nothing like that.
No, you're right.
But if anybody wants to jump onto my YouTube channel and have a look, then there's plenty of footage in there from the tour. I'm
gonna check it out. I didn't even know that one had come out. I have to apologise, Simon. I haven't even seen it. But a lot of people, I think I don't know whether they do know. I don't know whether they mention it a lot. I know I've mentioned it to yourself, but that's absolutely my ideal car, a Caterham. If I had the space, I would, without question, have a Caterham. Doesn't even have to be a big, powerful one. No, it doesn't. No, I drove a 1.4? I think a 1.4 at Alton Park and did a track day in them. they was going sideways easily, mate. My instructor, he was a young kid, race car background, and he had a fuel cut-off switch on the dashboard, and he kept on pressing it. And I was like, get off, leave me. But yeah, my absolute favourite car. I'd love one. Have you seen that they are in the process? I'm not sure when it's going to get released, but there's an electric one coming out as well, Simon. Did you know that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the new owners of Westfield are going down the same route as well, because they've all recognised the advantages of it.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to drive these things for long distances. They don't need big, heavy batteries in them. And there's a great little invention. There's a company in Swindon, I think it's maybe even called Swindon Motors or something like that, who came up with a transaxle electric motor. So basically a live axle replacement.
Yeah.
So you could put the motor in the rear end, which helps them to set up your weight distribution, have your batteries in the front. Yeah, I mean, if you think about, you're talking about the, case of you driving a 1.4. My first Westfield was a 1.6 cross-flow engine, so that was the old R2 Escort type thing. And then we upgraded, and people have probably heard this before, but I upgraded a little bit and went for the 3.6 V8 Westfield. Little bit.
Upgraded a little quality.
Yeah, I mean, it was only 210 horsepower, but it 221 foot-pound of torque, but it weighed 760 kilos wet.
That's frightening.
Monstrous.
That's frightening.
But one of the people we went on tour with always went one bigger, and he built, especially for the tour, one with a small block Chevy V8 in the front end. Insane. Absolutely insane.
Absolutely, yeah. But honestly, car nuts, that's what people do. People, I suppose it's like animals. You can hear our dog whining in the background, so apologies if anyone can hear her. But it's what people are like with their animals to a certain extent, but sometimes even a little bit worse. They treat their motors like, better than a family member sometimes, don't they, Simon?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm bemoaning the fact at the minute that we're on a hosepipe ban and I can't do my regular wash. So, yes, there's definitely a level of treatment that the vehicles get, which is beyond everything else.
You're not wrong. Anything else going on, mate? Is there anything else that you've got on your? Have you got a little list today that we're going to talk about?
Got a list, but I thought about since we last spoke, I've been to France.
Absolutely.
So there's another one of my videos on my YouTube channel. I'm not self-promoting here, but I've sent it to you as well. I put together some footage of the drive back. I managed to get the entire journey saved on one memory card and put that together. So it's 11 hours worth of driving in 11 minutes, including the information around the charging stops. So anybody's interested in, can you do a long journey in an EV? Watch that. It's quite interesting, the amount of, or the shortness of the time required to stop was like 16 minutes or something silly like that. The actual time stopped where we weren't eating or drinking or walking the dog.
Yes.
So in 11 hours, that's not bad, is it? Well,
it's pretty good going. How did you find the reliability of the charging in France? I know you've been before. I know you've been a number of times, but how is it comparable to the UK's charging infrastructure?
It's much better. There's more of it. It's more reliable. It's cheaper. Anything else?
What sort of price? What sort of price are we talking about? Comparable? Because I always work off 75, 80p a kilowatt when I'm out on motorways. That's about how it is nowadays across the board. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. What's the sort of like average price when you're on the French high speed roads or the big intersect or the big
French auto route prices tend to be 57, 60 cents. So it's, similar. It's less than 60p. So a good 30, maybe 30% cheaper than over here. But that's just a direct line from how cheap their electricity is over there. Their grid is predominantly nuclear powered with a lot of wind and solar backing it up. It's just a cheaper electricity over there, which is one of the reasons that we buy our surplus from them.
From there,
but the generally speaking, what was interesting, and this is picked up in the video as well, is it's 2 years since we went, because we didn't go last year because of Athos being too young. So it's 2 years since we went, and last time I drove out there, didn't have a problem with finding a charger. Most of the services have got chargers on them, but we were predominantly using the Ionity network. And I love Ionity. I think they're great. It always tends to be the go-to if you want reliable, fast charging.
Yep.
If you watch the video of me driving back, didn't stop at Ionity once. Because there's so many other choices out there now. So yes, the Ionities are there.
Didn't you stop off at a Tesla one on one of them? Did I see?
Yeah, that was a cheeky one. That I think just to let the Tesla fanboys froth a little bit, plug in an Audi.
What goes on with that nowadays? Is there still obviously when I had a Tesla account, and I know there was an option. I think it came in towards the end of me having a Tesla, where you can purchase a subscription and get access to the Tesla network. How does that work nowadays, Simon?
You don't have to purchase a subscription. You can do it as pay on the go. So, yeah, we actually used the Tesla superchargers at the hotel we were staying at in Folkestone. So I treated it like a rapid destination charger. Infrequently used, actually, as a supercharger station, just because of where it is. It's a bit out of the way. But yeah, you could literally download the Tesla app, create an account, put your credit card in, plug in and charge.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's not every Tesla supercharger. There are certain ones that aren't unlocked, but it tells you in the app which ones are and which ones aren't.
I've still got my app as well, so I could just literally just go on and charge. I didn't even realise.
I was exactly the same. I was like, I've got an account. Sign in, done. Didn't have to recreate.
That easy. Good. That's nice to know. Did you have any issues with that? I've been saying I'm going to do this for a little while. I'm going to do another EV road trip, to be honest, because when I did an initial one, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago, in an Audi Q4 e-tron. I did a little trip, and it was a pain in the backside. You had to have different cards for different machines and different. Is that all gone now, would you say? Within the UK, I think I've seen that it's virtually gone. Is it the same in continental Europe, where you can just literally just pay for it on your phone, pay for it on a card, and just get in charge?
Yeah, for the vast majority of places. I mean, I only charged up at places that were supporting of the Audi network, so I could use my Audi charge card. But if it hadn't done, they're the same as we are in the UK. They all have to accept debit, credit card as a payment method, and the vast majority don't require you to have their apps to do that. Tesla's unique in that because they don't have contactless payments at the chargers, at least in most cases they don't.
No, I've never seen them. That's good to know. But I'm definitely going to do it. I've been promised a lend of a BYD, and I'm going to go and
love that name.
I'm going to go and just go and take it for a big long road trip. I'm going to just drive all day and just see what it's like. Might even stay overnight somewhere, but it's something that I haven't done a lot of. We travel down to one of my sons in Southampton, but I don't even set the sat nav because I know exactly which supercharger, which charging station I'm going to. Ionity usually. It's not something that I've really experienced. I've not really travelled the country apart from this set route in an electric car. So it was about time I went off and did it a little bit more, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we purposely set the sat nav in the Audi and even set it for our destination in France as we left home, just because it would then do the whole charging timetable for us and adopt on the fly. So it's very useful in that sense. The mild annoyance of that was every time it changed the route, even a small deviation for traffic or something like that, it would tell us that the route contained a motor rail. So I must, as in Eurotunnel.
Oh, right. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I must have heard the route contains motor rail 150 times between here and Folkestone.
Funny.
And it got a little bit tiring, but I was determined I wasn't going to turn it off and just leave that. And I just let Audi do the whole thing. The only thing we did, which was a sneaky, don't want to do what Audi car tells us to do, is there was we found a new services on the way down that's got some Shell rapid chargers in it. There were only 6. and they've massively underscaled the size of the car park for this motorway services. So it was rammed, hard to park. All the chargers were in use, and it was just a bit of a mess. So we decided we weren't going to stop there on the way back. So we stopped early. So if you watch the video back, we do a little cheeky stop at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
10 minutes. But that then gave us, that then forced it sort of went, oh, you don't need to stop at the next one. So you
can get to the next one. Yeah, absolutely. Good effort. Has your Audi been okay, mate? Are you pleased with it now you've done that first French journey in it? Comfort wise?
Yeah, it's faultless out there. And you know that this annoying noise that I've got?
Yeah.
It's only in the UK.
English roads.
It's because we have a different approach to the way we build roads over here. We rely a lot on surface drainage. So the surface of the road is quite porous and has, therefore has small cracks in it. Whereas the French rely on camber. So there's a lot of drainage off to the side. And so even on concrete road surfaces out there, they're not relying on surface trenches, if you like. And that noise just hardly noticeable. So it makes it even more frustrating when you're driving back, and as soon as you get on a UK road, you go, "Oh God, that noise is back again." But it was brilliant. It was really comfortable. This is a really weird thing. So our normal mode, or my normal mode, is I jump on the motorway, I stick it in comfort mode.
Yeah,
that just takes the noise level down a little bit, takes the harshness of the suspension out a little bit from the potholes, makes it a bit more comfortable ride. Got on the French roads, did the same thing, and I thought, it felt hard to control. It's really hard to describe. Put it back in balance mode, it's a bit easier to control. And what I was finding was I was wandering within the lane just ever so slightly. And I don't know whether that's a camber thing.
Maybe.
Or what, but I found it quite difficult to keep it straight.
Okay.
And in comfort mode, it amplified it because it softens up the steering inputs. So when you make that micro adjustment, it then wasn't doing it. So you're making a bit, so you end up just doing a bit of a seesaw across the lane. And if you watch the footage back at high speed, you see it moving around like a seesaw. Yeah, it really does. It really does. So there was that was a mild annoyance, but we discovered we didn't need to put it in comfort mode because the roads are smooth and well surfaced.
Well surfaced. Good. Any difference with the economy in different modes? Have you noticed any discernible differences, or not really?
No, not in different modes. I don't think. I mean, yes, it's got an economy plus mode, but that softens the suspension and turns your air conditioning off.
So don't want to do that.
No, I can't be doing with that. The biggest difference, I guess, is when you're tanking it down the autoroute at 130 kilometers an hour. That does make a difference. But boy, is it enjoyable.
Yeah. Do you think that difference between the higher speeds is more in an electric car than it would be in a combustion engine vehicle? Do you think that waste of energy is significantly more?
I've had this debate several times. Okay. I'd love to put some science behind it. But effectively, I don't think there is much of a difference. In percentage terms, you're using energy to drive the vehicle forward. And yes, it's air resistance that is the problem. I think there's, in the same way as there is a difference between petrol and diesel. Diesel is much better at constant RPM, just cruising down the motorway, compared to a petrol engine. I think an electric one, in terms of its scale of efficiency, sits probably somewhere in the middle of those two things, where the difference is. Conversely, then when you get into slower speeds and you're in traffic, that's when the electric motor comes into its own, because it's not using energy to just sit there, which is what a diesel and petrol are doing. They're just wasting heat by just sitting there. So I think that the higher speed thing is, yes, there is a difference, but it's
negligible.
Well, the difference between 70 and 80 miles an hour is 7%, I would say, something like that. And that's in the big slab of a Q6.
Yes. Yeah. absolutely. I must admit, I think not even just when I'm in Liz's electric car, but just when I'm in mine. I think my whole attitude has changed over the last 25 years, obviously because I'm a driving instructor. It's made it worse because, not worse, because of what I'd do. Imagine if I got caught doing 85 on a motorway. It's not a good look. So that's made me chill out and calm down. But I honestly have just taken to the electric vehicle way of driving, that chilledness, that just steady, just look, if there's heavy traffic, I'm not going to battle with it. I'm just going to stick it in lane one, just put cruise control on, just stay behind a lorry for 20 minutes until the road clears, and then I'll make a little bit of progress. And I think I don't know. Do you tend to drive like that? It seemed to be that you weren't chasing it, even on your video in France, I know you just said there, doing 130 kilometers down the auto route, but it didn't seem as though you were absolutely on a mission, overtaking everyone throughout your journey. How do you approach things now, Simon?
I'm probably the same as you, as I've chilled out a lot, and some of that's got to do with age. Some of it's got to do with the attitude, and again, we'll come back to that cognitive load. The battling for space and speed adds a load onto what you've got to think about more than anything else. It's much better to just sit back and chill. And certainly in France, what I noticed in France was, yes, I was cruise control, and if you watch the footage back, you can see the MPH is doing 81, 82, 81, 82, which is 130 kilometers an hour. I got the cruise set at 133, so it's probably bang on, actually. But I was not overtaken very often. I was passing other vehicles, cars, vans and trucks, but not many people came past me. So the discipline to the speed limits over there is adhered to much more vehemently than we do over here. If you were doing 70 on the motorway over here, you'd be struggling to get out into lane 3 on a 3-lane motorway because people are tanking down much faster speeds.
But I honestly think that the UK's motorway network has calmed down significantly over the past 10, 15 years. Whenever I'm on a motorway, obviously I'm stuck rarely, even up to 70. Usually I'm just a little bit below that and just get myself out of the battle zone, if you like. But I don't often see people doing 85, 90 like it used to be so common. This is me holding my hands up. Before I was a driving instructor, my slow speed was 85. And it's embarrassing to say, but my slow speed, my chill out speed was 85. And I think that has gone. I think that the days have gone of so many people and a high percentage of people driving at 90 plus miles an hour. You get the occasional one, but I do think those numbers have dropped over the last 10, 15 years. What's your thoughts on that, your observations? Because you probably do, well, I don't know whether you do more motorway miles and sort of like distance miles than me, but what's your thoughts on that?
I would agree. There's still, I think a lot of the influence to that has got to do with traffic volume and the introduction of average speed cameras and smart motorways. I think that's got a lot to do with it, because as soon as you jump onto one of the motorways that's not one of those, like the M40 as an example, the average speed goes up by 15 miles an hour.
Yes, it does.
If you're doing 80 on the M40, you're still being overtaken. If you do that on the M1, you're not.
Tickets, no.
Because
you're right.
You've got that risk in there. So the smart motorways and the average speed cameras are working towards that. But I do genuinely think, yes, people are driving slower as well. And let's face it, we've just talked about it. Higher speeds cost more money in terms of your fuel, and the fuel is really expensive to do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do
you think? Go on.
I was going to say I'm not going to do a quiz, but just some interesting snippets based on speed limits. Where in the world is the highest speed limit?
Apart from the unrestricted zones in the Isle of Man, are you talking?
Well, unrestricted is the clue, isn't it? So Germany.
Yeah.
It's about 30% of the German autobahn network is non-mandated speed restrictions. Well, effectively, unrestricted. So that's top of the class. But I was surprised to learn that UAE, United Arab Emirates, they've got some of their motorway sections where it's 160 kilometers an hour. So basically 100.
Interesting. Saying that, when I drove in Dubai, I thought the roads were pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah. Saudi's up there. They've got some at 140 kilometers an hour, which is 87.
Yeah.
And based on this was interesting. USA's got some of their interstate speeds are 85 now.
Yeah, 85s. I've seen a few 85s over there. Do you think, this obviously leads us on to this question, do you think the UK roads should be increased? There's calls for it, and there's different ways of thinking that the government maybe would put it up because of what we've talked about. Less fuel efficiency, they're obviously going to be making more money on fuel duty and stuff like that. But do you think with modern cars' capabilities, safety and abilities, do you think it should ever go up to maybe 80 miles an hour?
No. And it's interesting, if you would have asked me that question 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I would probably argued against it. But with the volume of traffic on the roads these days, and the skill level and that we see as an outfit, no, I think I don't think it would be a sensible thing to do. We haven't had the investment in our road network to do that. People are going, yeah, but the 70 mile an hour limit has been around since the 1960s. Yeah, because that's when the M1 was built. It's still the M1. It's now got 10 times the amount of traffic on it.
Yes.
But it's still the same width of the road with the same curvatures. It's the same investment. The road lane, everything's still the same. We've not invested in you. We haven't got the road equivalent of a HS1 or HS2.
No, correct. And even if it was up to 80, and I'd just like people just to be conscious of this in their thought, that even if you are going to do 80 on a motorway, please don't. But even if you are, all you're going to do, you're just going to arrive at the next traffic jam and queue a little bit quicker, and you'll be 20 seconds behind me doing 70, who arrives there a number of minutes after you. It's utterly pointless most of the time if you're doing a long journey. Doesn't save you much. I've done that on the M25, that I've timed it in similar traffic conditions with someone who was probably 2 or 3 miles ahead of me. We were going off at the same junction, and I was catching them up all the way, just using the left lane. And that really proves it.
Yeah.
It's just the volumes, like you've talked about, Simon. You're just going to go faster to stop for longer. It's no different than the traffic light Grand Prix, where people zoom off and then stop at the next set for longer. It's quite similar.
Yeah. You always end up at the same place virtually at the same time.
Absolutely.
I felt I got stuck in traffic on Sunday coming back from the Lake District. There has been a multi-vehicle incident on the A1M in the roadworks. So although it was still 3 lanes, there's no hard shoulder. And I really felt for the fire engine that was trying to get through that amount of traffic. But what we did observe is that we've been shuffling forward for an hour at micro speeds, hardly moving at all. And then when you look around, you're in amongst the vehicles that were overtaking you or you'd overtaken an hour before. So it didn't matter whether you were doing 56 as a coach or 56 as a truck, 70 as a coach, or somebody passing you doing 80. You're not looking around going, well, we're all still stuck in the same block.
We're still the same sort, and that's how it generally works. Absolutely. I mean, Liz, we've got a night over booked in the Lake District coming up shortly. We're going to go and do a little road trip in my Volvo. It's all painted. I'm not going to tell people what else I've done to it, but it's looking pretty good. I just don't really want to get rid of it now. But it's quite close to being given away to charity. I know how it's happening. I know how it's going to work, but I'll announce that. The video where I'm staying away in the Lake District is just to really show people, look, an £1,800 car, even though I've probably spent probably spent the best part of another £1,000 on it. That car is an absolute belter, and I'd quite happily drive around in that as a daily. You know, you don't have to have this. I know you've got a nice, beautiful new motor, and my missus has got a new one, and I'll probably end up getting one quite soon. But you literally don't have to have a good functional car. Do your research, do your looking out, and do your auto trader scanning for months and months and months, and you will be able to find a decent bargain. Excuse my Cali barking.
So I can't hear it. There was an article this week about the average age of vehicles in the UK. Did you see that?
Okay, I didn't know. Can I just have a guess then?
Go on.
I'm just trying to think. What would it be? I'm suspect. Was there any information on? I was just going to say. No, I'm just going to go for off the.
Go on, go for it. Go on.
Just straight for it. 15 years. Oh no, average.
Yeah.
Average. No, because it's no. No. It's got to be 10 years old. I don't think it's going to be as much as people think, to be honest.
Oh, you saved your bacon there, didn't you? 9 years and 10 months.
9 years, 10 months. I was thinking out loud. But what's the? Did I see something? The average lifespan of a vehicle, and I think that's what was going through my mind. The average lifespan. It is obviously different.
Yeah. Well, that's what's saying. So the trend of the average age is going up because the average lifespan of vehicles is going up. In combination with people wanting to hold on to vehicles longer, in combination with the fact that we had that horrible 2-year period where people were in lockdowns and not using cars, and that's changed the whole makeup of things. But it's changed from 2016. It was 7.5 years. So in 9 years, it's changed quite a lot.
Short space. Do you think the price of cars has had stuff to do with that? With how bloody expensive they are nowadays as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost criminal when you look at the ticket prices of vehicles these days. Now, thankfully, the way that people finance vehicles has gone more into the monthly charge, whether that's PCP or lease, and they don't really see that ticket value. But that's crazy.
They are ridiculous. Just going back to what we were saying about the average lifespan of a car, I'm sure I read somewhere there was a little piece on the average lifespan of an EV compared to an ICE car. They reckon EVs are going to have a longer lifespan than the average ICE car as well. I don't know whether that was just pushed from someone's own sort of like perspective. Have you seen anything? Have you seen anything on that at all, Simon?
Well, I think it's too early to draw a correlation. If you think the EV market mainstream is still relatively naive, so if we're talking about 15 years as being the lifespan, that's really only going to be looking at Nissan Leafs and Teslas.
Yes,
because that's what was around at that time. You were getting some like BMW i3s and things like that coming into the market, but I think it's too early to draw that direct correlation.
Conclusion.
My gut feel is that it's right, because there's so many few moving parts to go wrong, that and people will see them more as an ongoing investment over time. And the second-hand market's crazy for EVs. It goes up and down like nobody's business. But people are hanging on to them. I was doing some analysis a couple of years ago. In fact, I've carried it on. What the percentage of available EVs are in the second-hand market. And there was an expectation that once we'd had the big spike in EV sales back in 2019, when I got my Jag, that's when we had quite a big uptick. 3 years on from that, we would see a correlation. We'd see an uptick in used car availability from people that held on to them for the first 3 years and then passed them on. Didn't see it. In fact, we're now on 5 years and we've still not seen it. So where we're talking, it's gone up to 25% of new UK registrations. The used car market for EVs is still down at 2-3%. So the people are already hanging on to them for longer because they recognise that they are a longer term proposition and that the running costs are lower.
Yeah,
sounds like we're actually talking about something sensible for a change. What's going on?
Yeah. It's been I was going to say really boring one, but I know it's been a proper one as well. I think sometimes you do need to address these certain issues. Here's a really difficult question, and so sorry, Simon, to chuck this one at you.
This is because I said I wasn't doing a quiz. You know, want to throw it back?
Yeah.
Go on. All right.
No, I'm not. No, not at all. Please quiz me and I'll get them wrong all the time again. I do have concerns about EV batteries when they come to their end of the life. Is there anything that you can tell me that could address those concerns, that could comfort those concerns, if you like? What are we going to do with all these EV batteries? When they come to maybe the end of their 15-year cycle.
So, what are we classing? Let me just throw the question back at you. What would you consider to be the end of life for an EV battery?
Well, I don't know enough about how they could be utilised after their usable life as a motor vehicle, and that's really the information that I'm trying to drag from you, Simon.
So that's the key point.
It back at me.
Yeah.
That's the key point.
That's the key point. The key point is the battery is likely to outlive the vehicle. Now, not just because they might get crashed, stolen, whatever, but in terms of the longevity of the vehicle, a lot of the other components within an EV share common platform with ICE-powered vehicles. And you're right, 15 years is about the limit of where we get to on a vehicle, unless you want to keep hold of it for personal reasons. But the battery will carry on. It will degrade over time. This is why it goes back to your lad talking about his iX3 and doing a state of health check. So it will degrade over time. But that's as an EV battery, the workload that an EV battery has to go through in terms of being able to charge rapidly and able to deploy energy quickly when you stick your right foot to the floor, that's a high load. What we can do, and what is happening more and more now, is those batteries are being taken out of vehicles as they come to end of life and having a second life. For example, Nissan did a demonstration of using those second life batteries in power banks for homes. So where you're talking, a power wall battery for your home to supplement or take advantage of cheap electricity. You've got batteries at your home yourself.
We've got a 32 kilowatt battery pack at ours.
So those batteries can be quite easily 15-year-old EV batteries, because the workload that they need to do doesn't it? So if you took a 15-year-old EV battery that's 100 kilowatt capacity and it's degraded down to 70 kilowatts, let's just call it a 70 kilowatt house battery.
You're not wrong.
You don't know that it originally had 100 kilowatts capacity at 70 kilowatts.
Yeah, and
it's not going to degrade then.
No, and if I think about it, I've got a little app on my phone that tells me what my system's doing. I think the max charge rate is it 6 or 7, and I think that's kilowatt. And I think we've been really unlucky when we've had the electric car plugged in, and Liz has had every oven on in the house and every light and everything. If we get over 9 or 9.5 kilowatts, so that, like you said, that's just adding a little bit of confirmation to what you've just said, Simon. The home use is no way near like the use that we have in an electric vehicle.
Yeah, so we can do that. So the second life use of EV batteries will become a big industry as we find out more than just house batteries, or even supplementing the rest of the industry. The recycling technologies that are coming through, some of the new recycling plants, battery recycling plant, there's one opened up in Sheffield now, and I think they're quoting like 88% of the raw materials being recycled.
Brilliant.
So even if if it's dead or doesn't have a second life, those raw materials, including the precious metals that everybody moans about because they're in mind, they can all be recycled. And again, that's going to be a booming industry. So not just taking used car batteries and mobile phone batteries and laptop batteries.
That's really pleasing for me to understand that information. I think you could probably guess by my question that I had a little bit of information about it, but it's really pleasing to know that that's going on. And what's said about EVs in the press isn't how it generally is. That's what I find. But people do have concerns, so it's nice to address a few of those concerns, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those people that are considering an EV, it's not for everybody yet. There's still a long way to go. If you've not got off-street parking, if you've not got the ability to charge at your workplace or home, it's going to be a challenge. And there's a relatively slow adoption rate for things like curbside charging. I saw there was a council in Suffolk this last week, I think it was Suffolk, who started doing grants for curbside charging. So you have the head unit for your charger on the inside of your house boundary, and they will come and they will dig a channel through the pavement edge and then give you a post on the pavement edge.
Cool.
But it's still it's an expensive installation, and it's still relatively early adoption in terms of technology.
Have you tried any of the charging pieces where they're sort of like done from the lampposts and the street lighting? Have you tried any of them? Because there's a load of them in Liverpool nowadays as well, where you can just park up next to a street lamp, plug in. I've never tried them. That's probably another thing that I should go off and have a look at. Have you had a go at them, Simon?
Not had a go. I was involved in a project for Oxford where they were offering that as a service because they're quite keen to do EV adoption, and we were involved in that for a short period of time, but not done it myself. Is an interesting nugget. That lamppost thing is quite interesting because, as anybody will know, there's been a huge conversion over the last few years of streetlights from phosphorus into LED. So, we've no longer got the orange glow of the phosphorus lights around. We're now all on LEDs. But the infrastructure and the cables to get to the lamppost was always designed for the high current draw of a phosphorus bulb. So they've got extra capacity in them now. So they don't have to do anything for the cabling. They can just put an EV charger in the bottom of it, and it uses the same cabling. So from an installation point of view, that's great.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the big solutions for me for dealing with a lot of people who haven't got off-street parking where they can have their own charger as well, because most of the time there's street lamps down the road where you could just have little blocks, just specifically for EV charging. I think that's pretty good, that, to be fair. That's a good solution. Absolutely.
What I would say is, if you don't have that option and you are wanting to charge your vehicle at the curbside, please don't drape your cable across the pavement. As tempting as it might be to run a cable into your house or into your charger, let's be mindful of the fact that I don't want to be a health and safety police, but if you're a wheelchair user trying to get down the pavement and there's a cable across it, or you're a parent pushing a buggy, it just makes life hard. So please don't do that.
I agree. There is one very close to me when we take our Callie out for a walk, and I think they've done everything that they possibly can to make it as visible and as easy as they can. But they've got one of those like little rubber triangles to go over, and it's across the full width of the pavement. And for me, that's okay. But I could still see wheelchairs and buggies having problems getting over it as well. So you're absolutely right. Good point for bringing that up, Simon.
All right, enough of the serious talk then. We do say this as the outset. Our expertise comes into great chat. One of the topics I was going to talk about.
Yep.
In your wheelhouse, one of the things I found at work recently, and in my job as a coach, is trying to get people to understand the importance of what we class a short feedback loop. So for those people that don't know, I'm an agile project consultant by trade, and we talk about using and implementing agile technology, agile methodologies. And one of the things in agile is about doing work in sprints, short iterations, so that we can deliver something, get the feedback on it, adjust to whether the customer wants it or not, and then carry on. So we're not developing something the customer doesn't want. We're doing short feedback loops. I wanted to ask you a question, because we've resonated in the past on the cognitive load. Yep. When you're doing a driving instruction, whether it's training a new instructor or things, how important is it to have a short feedback loop? In other words, what works best? A test every day, a lesson every day, a lesson every week, or one every month where they can absorb what has been done. In your experience, is it a short feedback loop that works best, or is it a longer one?
It as I always say on my driving instructor videos, that when I'm doing the training, it depends. It depends on the person. The good thing is with what I do, training driving instructors, it's on a one-to-one basis, Simon. So I don't have to think of the bigger picture of many people involved, like potentially you're talking about. So I can deal with it on an individual basis. Rarely will I do any more than 4 hours instructor training in a week with someone, because they need practice in between to then implement the stuff that I'm talking about. I could deliver my whole Part 3 driving instructor package, which is a 40-hour package. I could deliver that in 1 week, but they would probably take in 15 to 20% of actually what they needed to take in.
Because they've got to put it into practice.
Yes, it's a practical skill.
What about the learner drivers then? Because is it still, this is a sort of dumb question from my point of view, when I was learning to drive, it was common practice that I would have a lesson, and then you'd be off driving mum and dad's car, accompanied during the week, and get the practice in. Is that still a thing?
Yes, and it's something that I always advise as much as you can. There are some downsides with it where they will pick up a few bad habits from mum and dad, prioritising gearing down over braking and the normal things. Getting people to queue when the road's merging. They'll stick them in a queue 3 miles back rather than using all the road space. Those type of things. But generally, the more time that you have in the car, the quicker you're going to develop, and it far outweighs the problems that it will cause me to then get rid of the poor habits that do develop. So as much practice as you can when you're learning to drive. But the driving instructor course, if there's anyone who's thinking of doing this particular course, my advice would be to steer clear of any companies who offer you the full Part 3 training package in 1 week, because it's just too much. Cognitive load is colossal, and it's a waste of money.
Yeah, and you end up with a lower quality in terms of their output anyway, so
absolutely
less chance of passing.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've got a lot of the, not necessarily for driving instructor training, but LGV training or CB, whatever the bike certificate is these
CBTs.
There's a lot of people offering that in semi-residential or condensed timeframes. The same would be said of those, of course. That it's a means to an end, but it gives you a lower quality in terms of your experience when you first get out there.
Yeah, and that balance is really difficult to get the information in. Let it settle, let it sit, but then having enough time to practice. Is there anything different in your world as well, Simon? I know I've just alluded to it's easier for me because I can be specific because it's a single person. I do all my training 1-to-1 and never do it 2-to-1. So it's easier for me. I can be client-centered enough to then specify to what's required. How do you go about that, dealing with maybe a room of 15, 20 people that you've got to, get this message across? What do you do? What do you do, in that scenario?
Yeah, in a sort of group learning, group coaching exercise, if you've got to do it in a short period of time. So let's say you're if I'm delivering one of my training courses on Agile, I can do that. I could do the full course, as you say, I could do the full course in 2 solid days. Mm-hmm. People's brains will be bleeding out of their ears at the end of it because I've given them so much information, but I've probably got them to a level where they can pass the course, pass the examination. I'd much rather do that in 2 sessions. Do them one where I set them up with a lot of information up front about the practices and the mindsets, then let them go away and cogitate that for a week or more, and then come back for part 2 where we actually put some of those things into practice. And the practice bit is the last part of my Agile training course. So we always do a simulation at the end of it, which is everything that you've just learned over the last 2 days, whether that's condensed or over a period of time. Let's try and put that into practice. And that's the bit where they learn. They don't learn in the first part of the course. What they learn is where they can apply that. And then they realise, actually, I understand what you're talking about in terms of mindsets. Now, that's condensed period, but I would always prefer to do it as a 2-block session and give them time in the middle to absorb and understand and reflect back. Because although I try to coach people and educate people on the agile practices within the workplace and within software development, a lot of the time people have a light bulb moment and go, I could use this for home. I can think about this in a different way. And particularly when I start using real life examples about planning a holiday as being one of my go-to scenarios, and think I divide a room up in terms of how people feel most comfortable about planning for a holiday, whether you're I need to know everything, where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I pack to the nth degree, so every scenario is covered, versus I'm quite happy going to the airport with my wallet and my underwear and I'm off. And then I find out where people sit in terms of their ability to be agile. But
interesting. I use that holiday analogy in a slightly different way as well, in relation to target fixation. So when people are driving and they're taking in one piece of information because they're fearful most of the bus coming towards them, I give them that holiday analogy of, look, if you're booking a holiday, you look at many different parts of it to then make the correct decision. So it's interesting that you use that in a slightly different way, but I use it too. It's interesting that.
Yeah.
Relatable to what people know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm even as sneaky so-and-so because I'll change the analogy depending on the time of year. Because if I'm doing this course in March, I'll use the holiday analogy. If I'm doing it sort of in November, I'll use the planning the Christmas meal analogy. Just because it becomes front and centre.
Well, I say the same about planning your local restaurant. I said, I'll say to people, look, if it's just at off price, we're always eating at McDonald's, but it's not going to be just off price. That's scary. God, we're two peas in a pod, us, mate, aren't we? That's off its head.
Cool. Anyway, right, we've had some really interesting topics tonight, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you as always. I'm going to land this now with a random fact. I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want a random fact about GPS, or do you want a random fact about cameras for mirrors?
Oh. Which helps me? GPS helps. No, does it help me most? Now I'm going to go GPS.
I'm going to say. I mean, these are random facts, right? So GPS and sat nav. The world's first car fitted as standard with sat nav. I'm going to get you to guess the year. It's not a quiz. But I'm going to get you to guess the year. When do you think that would have been?
Gee. Oh, you know what?
Now, what you're doing now is you're going back through your analogy of your lexicon of cars, thinking, when did I have sat nav?
I'm trying to think when the military even developed GPS.
Oh, good one. I like where your starting point is.
You know what? I'm just total guess in the 90s somewhere.
Oh, we'll give you that.
I think
we'll give you that one. 1998. Interestingly, it was the Lexus LS400, but it was the European market spec car, not the Japanese market spec car. So GPS, sat nav in cars came to the world in Europe in a Lexus. My interesting fact about car mirrors also relates to a Lexus, but I'm going to save that to another time.
Sorry, Simon. 1998. What reg was that? Was that an S reg?
No, X was the 2000, so T.
ST.
TVX, yeah. ST.
My dad had an S reg GS300 Lexus. I don't know whether it had sat nav in.
Would have been around that era, wouldn't it? And so
I don't know.
The LS400 would have been top spec.
The top spec. I don't know. Can't remember. In any case, I did actually think of that. Sorry to interrupt. It's just like when you said Lexus. Go on. What were you saying about? Sorry.
No, I was going to say my car mirrors fact was also Lexus related, but I'll save that for another time.
Have you had a go of anything with cameras for mirrors?
No, I've been teased it a couple of times because I went to the launch of the Kia EV9 and the launch vehicles that were in the showroom. They had camera for mirrors, and the Q6 launch cars again had cameras and mirrors, but when they come to UK market, they don't do it.
No,
the e-tron
people
did.
will put off them. Yeah, I know the e-tron, the launch spec one had them as well, didn't it? I think I am going to get hold of a car and do a little piece with them. Definitely, it's been something I've been meaning to do for years, to be honest. I've got to go and see whether there's actually any downsides to them, because everything's going that way. The new Polestar 4, no rear window, just a camera for mirror out the back. That would be an interesting piece to see how the DVSA are going to take to vehicles with no rear window when reversing. There's a little idea that could be coming on my channel quite soon.
There's a good one. And we've touched upon this in the past as well. One of the things that niggles me about them is when they're on trucks, because coming back to your recent videos about being in the blind spot, one of the tricks I used to have with all trucks is if you can see the driver, he can see you, and now it doesn't count because you can't see the face of the driver in the mirror.
Correct.
To see whether
he's actually looking,
because he's just looking at his dashboard, and so I love the technology, but in that particular scenario, there's no replacement for a mirror.
Agreed. Absolutely on the same wavelength yet again, Simon.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Ashley. This has been fun. As always, to our listeners and viewers, feedback is welcome. If you want to send us a question, please do so through the usual channels. I'm sure we'll find it somehow. Comments always welcome, and we'll do another one of these very shortly. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your time, Ashley, and we'll speak to you soon.
Here. See you soon, Simon.
Goodbye.